Hello and welcome to Election Brief with me, Araba Kumsin. Coming up, Electoral Commission blames failure of political parties to obey rules governing registration exercise for violence that has seen 2 Ghanaians lose their lives during the registration exercise.
If the political parties will abide by the rules, regulations governing any electoral activities in Ghana, Ghana will be the best place to run elections.
Also, former President Mahama has announced a $10 billion accelerated infrastructural plan, which he says will drive jobs and entrepreneurial agenda when re-elected.
We intend to create more than 1 million jobs in 4 years. We're going to inject money into infrastructural development again, because that will involve the construction industry, engineering, and so on.
Also, National Democratic Congress asks government to immediately render account for monies collected by the power distribution services in its 7 months of operation from March 7 to October 2019.
Who are those who perpetrated this fraud? And what has President Akufo-Addo done to them?
All these and more in the next half hour. We're live from our studios here at Kokomime on DSTV channel 421 and on GoTV channel 144. Stay with us. Thanks for your time again. Now, the Electoral Commission says the failure of political parties to obey the electoral rules is what accounted for the violence that marred its registration exercise. 2 persons have so far lost their lives, one at Banda in the Bono East region and another at Nkrannkwanta in the Eastern region in electoral-related violence. At least 16.6 million Ghanaians have so far registered for the December 7 elections. The EC has been speaking on its assessment of the exercise. There's more in the following report.
It is unthinkable that chiefs, community leaders will sit in their communities, Electoral Commission staff will get there and tell those people that they are not Ghanaians on the basis that they don't have Ghana card and passport. It will not happen. We are Ghanaians before national passports. We are Ghanaians before the Ghana card or ECOWAS card. ECOWAS card will not determine whether we are Ghanaians or otherwise. So it is important that the police, some of who are here, who are desiring for change, that they must wake up to the reality that anything that the Electoral Commission does that plunges this nation into calamity, there the police will also be affected.
Even before the exercise took off on June 30, there had been mounting opposition to the move by some political parties and civil society organizations who questioned the relevance of the exercise, especially with the onset of the coronavirus pandemic. The NDC, PNC and APC protested the compilation of a new register and took their fights to the Apex Court, but it granted the EC the leeway to register citizens using the Ghana card and passport as source document. Still, many were not happy.
Who were not respecting any of the safety protocols. Of course, you may find a few people in mask, but the large majority had thrown that mask bit into the gutters.
Attention shifted to accusations of voter suppression as the NDC alleged government had deliberately deployed soldiers to its strongholds to intimidate people from registering.
Mainly in the strongholds of the NDC, the military was very visible. And then in constituencies that MPP seems likely to lose, the military was visible.
The Defense Ministry denied allegations of intimidation.
These people were in boats of more than, there were about 3 or 4 boats. In fact, when I spoke to both of them, they all said 3 or 4 boats. And they all said that another set of people had massed up
to prevent them from coming because they believe they're coming to register.
They believe, no, they believe they were foreigners. Those who were bringing them said that they were not foreigners. And the people said they will not allow. The military had to step in to say, no, it's not your duty to block the people. Let them come in. It's our duty. To stop terrorists, it's our duty. If they are Ghanaians, they will be allowed to register. You have no business coming to block him because you have agreed that you cannot physically prevent somebody. That's all I keep saying to you. That when you invite the military by your actions, you should not expect that everything will be the way you and me would enjoy our freedom here. Some little discomfort will have to be around you. It's not the same thing, because Banda is a different ballgame altogether, because somebody died and the possibility of reprisal attacks was there. So RESEC deployed the military to bring peace and security to the area.
Reports of pockets of violence emerged in areas like Asawase and Banda, where the parties accused each other of busing prospective voters. In Banda, one person was killed in an electoral-related violence.
The people in Banda are afraid to go at the registration center and register. This goes on, we will advance ourselves.
They were holding guns and stuff. Pinkers, guns, everything they were holding it. So even you cannot stand, you have to
Perhaps
run.
The most unforgettable aspect of the exercise is the Kaswa shooting incident, in which EC officials fled the Step to Christ registration center after gunmen seized their motorbikes, set them ablaze, and fired multiple shots in the process. The NP Mavis Kumsin admitted to firing the shots.
One kasa wo MP na wo kura tuo be ne kita o
pato mi ntumi nkyere
wonim tuo no
awasa obi sa say ba ne sane ma woni so
o dabi meba no so am pese me hu etuo kro ne kita o no wadaroma
mi nkyere we tuo kro.
Weekend was also not incident-free, as one person was shot at Nkrannkwanta in the Doma West district of the Bono region.
Now, police and military intervened, and that saved the day. They fired many warning shots, causing people to flee. This was when we heard that a member of the NPP had been hit.
The commission says political parties failed to obey the rules governing the exercise, hence the violence.
I will start by saying that if the political parties will abide by the rules, regulations governing any electoral activities in Ghana will be the best place to run elections.
But did they do so?
Not at all. Not, and I will not tell lies. They did not.
They did not.
If they have done that, the tension, the attacks, and the rest that you are talking of would have taken place. And if you listen to Reverend Dr. Kuni Frimpong, he has been part of all activities, all the meetings, APAC meetings, testing the case and everything. So he is now an expert in electoral service as well as registration is concerned. So whatever he has said, I am 100% in support of him.
Election Observer Group Kodeo, meanwhile, wants the EC to extend the registration exercise, as it believes some citizens may not have registered due to the violence and intimidation.
If even we have 1,000 Ghanaians who feel genuinely they qualify and they have not been able to register, the EC must go into this.
Meanwhile, the Bono Regional Police Command has arrested 3 persons in connection with the violence that occurred at Nkrannkwanta in the Doma West district of the Bono region. It's unclear what sparked the violence, but speaking on JoyNews desk on the JoyNews channel earlier today, Public Relations Officer of the Bono Regional Police Command, Augustine Kingsley Opong, said both factions were armed. We'll hear from him shortly, but Adom FM's correspondent Dominic Donyina joins us via phone. Dominic, many thanks for your time. What's the atmosphere in the town as we speak?
Kumsin, as we speak now, there is peace at Nkrannkwanta. After the incident, security personnel around have helped in various ways to restore peace at Nkrannkwanta. So as we speak, there is peace here. Everything is back to its normalcy.
Tell us about those, the casualties, the one who died. What do we know about him?
Yeah, the one who died is a party member of an MPP. But when I spoke to the youth organizer of the party this morning and said he accepts the party in diverse ways. So they were looking up to him to help them in this 2020 elections, but unfortunately this incident happened and they lost him to death. The 2 are currently battling for their lives. One is at Nkrannkwanta Polyclinic, and who is an MPP member, Malam Eliasu. And then Kwame Kutan, NDC member who sustained gun shot, is currently at Senior Regional Hospital receiving treatment. So as we speak now, they are all in stable condition. We are yet to get to them so that we speak to them to ascertain what really happened, because these are things gunshots. They may give us more information as to what really happened, because when we spoke to both NDC and MPP, they were peddling allegations against each other. So we had to speak to these two people to see what really happened.
All right. Many thanks for your time. That's Adom FM's Dominic Donyana with that update from the Bono region. Well, the police in the region says it has picked up 3 persons who are assisting with investigations. Augustine Opong is the regional police PRO.
They were fighting each other. You will not be able to denote between MPP and DC. So police tried to stop and bring peace, but nobody will listen. Due to this, some men were called to come and add to the policemen and military who were there. And, you know, when we have a situation like this, we have what we call graduation force. You start talking and then you increase the situation as per how you repel those people who are involved in that. It led to the using of rubber bullets to disperse the people. It was after they have all run away from the place that we realized there was one guy who was lying there with people around, helped the police to take him to the hospital. And it was at Doma Include Presbyterian Hospital that the doctor declared him dead on arrival.
So he died as a result of a bullet wound from...
We are suspecting that it's a bullet wound.
From the police that
will come out when we establish an investigation to find out some aspect of the things that went wrong there.
Were any of those engaged in the violence armed?
Yes. We overheard shooting, sound of weapons from those who were running away. So it means that some of them were armed.
Have you made any arrests so far?
Yes. So far we have arrested 3 persons who are assisting police for our investigation.
Are you able to...
now at Doma Divisional Command.
Meanwhile, the national youth organizer of the NPP, Henry Nana Boakye, says the opposition NDC has misconstrued the mandate of the security deployed within the registration period just to gain political capital from the allegations, while also making efforts to undermine what has been a well-organized voters registration exercise.
I find the submissions of Ofayad very, very disingenuous.
Which one?
I mean, all the things he said, because you see...
Did you see the videos?
I'm coming. I'll come to that. First of all, as I said, he said, yes, as I said, the Electoral Commission designated more than 6,500 registration centers. And the only places we saw the presence of military were 2 constituencies.
That's not true.
Oh.
That's not true.
I'm coming.
That's
I'm coming.
Not true. You don't have the facts. Let me help.
Hold on.
Because you deployed them, you don't know where you even deployed your
quiet. Today he's been very...
yeah.
Oh, today he's been... Yeah.
You see, it was in Banda, and Banda, we all know what happened there. There were some clashes, and, you know, when we have such registration, obviously, you know, interests are heightened, and if you are not careful, you have some places where it will just degenerate into wild violence. So that can happen, and unfortunately one person lost his life. Now, the Regional Security Coordinating Council met all political parties. And in that meeting, they had a joint security operation team involving the military, immigration, police, and the national security.
And this meeting is precipitated by what
happened? What happened in Banda? Right, good. And then you also have some deployment. I mean, just few deployment to Kaswa because of some of the issues that were coming from there. Look, in other places, Mr. John Dramani Mahama came out with such wild allegations, saying that Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo has ordered the military and they've deployed some men to the border country. And in fact, he specifically limited that deployment to the Volta region.
It's all here on Election Brief. Now, flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama, has described this year's voters registration exercise as one with a difference. The EC has registered more than 60 million people for the exercise, which it describes as largely successful, while reacting to concerns of voter suppression in parts of the Volta region and other NDC strongholds. The former president said the phenomenon has the potential of derailing peace and security of the country ahead of the December polls. He spoke in an interview on TV XYZ.
Yeah, I think it met our expectations. What happens is, often before we change a register, it is preceded by a population census. So it gives us very accurate data about the target population we're looking at. We were supposed to have a population census this year, 2020, but because of the COVID, the government had to suspend it. And so what we've been working with are projections of the population from the Statistical Services Department. And I think that from the projections, we are well within, what it should be. I think that what this register has succeeded in doing is taking the dead. We have no way of cleaning a register and taking the dead people out. We exhibit it and we ask people to come and report if somebody has passed away, but I mean, not everybody really does that. And so what it would have done would be to take away people who are dead, or people who have migrated permanently out of the country. So 15-point-something million is just within the range that one would have expected. Initially, we had strong objections to compiling a new register, and we believe that we could use the old register because by ages of registers, it was still relatively young. And often we would precede a registration exercise by a population census. And because we hadn't done that, we said, look, why don't we do this vote? And then if we need to do a new register, after we've done the population census, we'll have the accurate data and then we could go ahead and do it. Even though there would still have been names of dead people and other kinds of things in the register, it will not be fatal.
Meanwhile, the former president has announced a $10 billion accelerated infrastructural plan dubbed the Big Infrastructural Push, which he says he will introduce that if he's re-elected. The initiative is expected to drive a jobs and entrepreneurial agenda.
To create more than 1 million jobs in 4 years. And the first way we're going to do it is to look at the public services. I said before, we're going to do a human resource gap analysis to see what the optimal numbers in the public service should be in all the various sectors. And based on that, be able to fill in, whatever gaps there are. That's the first part. The second part is we're going to inject money into infrastructural development again, because that will involve the construction industry, engineering, and so on and so forth. And so it will bring a lot of artisans and everybody back into work. We're looking at what I call the big push, the big infrastructural push. And that's going to be an injection of about $10 billion to dualize our roads, to complete the 200 senior secondary schools, to finish all the hospitals that we were building, to do bridges, in order to open up the country and all that. So there's going to be an injection of $10 billion. And we believe that that should allow the engineering sector and the construction sector, the cement sector, building materials sector, to create at least, 300 to 400,000 jobs a year. There are funds for afforestation, billions of dollars for afforestation. We're going to come with a new initiative in forestry, tree growing, and it's going to be in every district of this country. We're going to employ young people to be involved in growing trees.
Let's stay on the NDC because the party in the Northeast region has urged its members to resist any form of intimidation ahead of the 2020 elections. The regional chairman of the party, Alassane Antoma, speaking to JoyNews, encouraged the party supporters to stand up against harassment from elements within the governing party and security agencies. According to him, the call was necessitated by the failure of the police to deal with reports of abuse and intimidation of the party's supporters in some border communities in Chirponi and Bumpurugu constituencies. The chairman was speaking over the weekend in Gambaga, where the party held a ceremony to inaugurate the regional campaign team.
In Chirponi, yes, NDC is a party that has grown out of patience and humility. Yes, we tell our people to find a way of resisting it. If there's a need, they can challenge. We tell them to pick challenge forms. I keep contacting the police commander. Even yesterday, I had to call on the commander, and he gave me the Chirponi commander's number. I spoke to him.
Exactly what is happening in Chirponi?
Yes, bussing in people who are foreigners, and yet they are not prepared that our executive challenge their registrations. So this has been happening. I talked to him as a commander there. He should take immediate measures to see how it goes. But we gave them a caution, because in one of the situations we told them if they do not arrest them, the next time they'll be surprised the way our people will turn out and pounce on them.
Now, still on the NDC, the party is asking government to immediately render account for monies collected by the power distribution services in its 7 months of operation from March to October 2019. National Communications Officer of the party, Gyamfi, says persons who were complicit in the fraudulent power pact, that's how he describes it, which was terminated under questionable circumstances, must be made to cough out all monies back into the coffers of the state.
Since the Minister for Energy, Honorable John Peter Miwo, told Ghanaians that the insurance guarantee PDS presented for the takeover of the over 20 billion Ghana cedis worth of assets of ECG was fraudulent, a fact corroborated by our courts, a Qatar-based company which allegedly issued the said guarantee. Who were those who perpetrated this fraud against Ghanaians? And what actions has President Akufo-Addo taken to ensure that they answer for this fraud? Who are those? Peter Miwo says that the transaction was fraudulent. The insurance guarantee which was presented to government for the takeover of the assets of ECG was fraudulent, on the basis of which the concession agreement was terminated. And who are those who perpetrated this fraud? And what has President Akufo-Addo done to them? Because we know that fraud is a crime under our laws and punishable through criminal prosecutions and convictions thereof.
Gyamfi has also been outlining how the party's flag bearer, John Mahama, will not be a clearing agent for corruption.
The next NDC Mahama government shall ensure that all monies, here I'm referring to the over 1.5 billion Ghana cedis revenue PDS collected from the people of this country. President Mahama will ensure that all these monies collected by PDS from electricity consumers are properly accounted for, and ensure the retrieval of any amounts misappropriated by the company, their promoters and accomplices for the state. Also, the next NDC Mahama administration shall ensure the arrest and criminal prosecution of all persons who directly or indirectly played roles in this stinging PDS scandal and the other several corruption scandals we have witnessed under the watch of President Akufo-Addo in the last 3.5 years. As President Mahama has demonstrated, or as President Mahama demonstrated between 2012 and 2016, when he ensured the prosecution of his own appointees and party members in the youths who were found culpable in some corruption scandals. President Mahama will not be a clearing agent of corruption in the next NDC.
And just gone by, you had the communications officer of the NDC, Gyamfi, addressing a press briefing. Very shortly, we will be crossing over to the MPP headquarters, where officials there will also be addressing the media on various issues. This is your election headquarters. I'm Marba Kumsin. That's how we wrap up today's election brief. Join us same time tomorrow.